So, hi to everyone on YouTube, and thank you so much for joining us live. Nice to speak in with you again, once again, Ben. If I could talk properly, that would help. Good to see you this evening. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, excited to jump back on the mic with you and drop hopefully some tips and knowledge bombs around priorities with you tonight, mate.
Yeah, excellent. And so, I know that priorities is a big value that we have at B1, and it's one of our core mindset principles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I was thinking of it as the difference between having priorities and just setting a goal, because I know that there is a statistic out there to say that if you simply write down your goals, it is proven that apparently 42% of people, so research shows, it shows that if you're writing your goals down, you're 42% more likely to achieve that goal simply by writing it down, which I thought was a quite powerful statistic. But I know that there is simply just difference between goal setting and priorities, and I think that can be lost and that can be a bit confused. So I wondered if you'd give us your take on priorities and what that means for yourself.
Yeah, definitely, man. I love that. It's a great start that to find. Really interesting to hear that as well. And I think that where it kind of leans into why kind of B1 feel priorities is so important is because I'm going to go towards what you asked first, which is kind of like the goal setting, but then I will drop around if you don't have a goal as well. So some people might be listening to this with a goal that they're trying to go for. Other people might just be thinking at the minute, I just want to kind of gain some stability within my life. And I feel this is a great place to start. But kind of gauging off what you talked about there, I think that a lot of people, you gave a stat, I don't know if it was in the last live that we did. I don't think it's been dropped yet, but I think it's on YouTube. Apologies, mate, but it's not been dropped on the podcast. But we brought up how many people kind of set goals at the start of the new year. It might have been a reel that you did, Liam, maybe, and then obviously it flutters out. And for me, there's a few reasons, but one of the main ones is they don't prioritize their life to suit their goal. So when you set yourself a goal and start to understand, right, I want to achieve this in this area, you've really got to ask some hard questions about, does your life currently fit you achieving that goal? And if the answer is no, then you need to start to assess what you need to change within your life and what you need to take out or put in that's going to assist you in achieving it. So where most people fall short, it's not that they don't want the goal. It's not that they don't really know what to do to get there. It's that the rest of their life starts to catch them out. And before they know it, they're feeling overwhelmed. Before they know it, they're dropping back into bad habits or their time's been taken somewhere else. And suddenly they think, oh, I'm never going to be able to achieve this. Or it's been a week and I've not even thought about what my goal was. Or do you know what I mean? So understanding how to prioritize your life, not just prioritize actions for your goal, but also just understanding your life as a whole. How in control of it are you? How much do you know what's going on in your week? Do you know what I mean? At the start of the week and at the end of it. And I think that's something that when we created the app and Liam put a lot of work into the development of this app, and again, it's why I'm testament to his skill set, because it's really important at the start of your week to be able to set it out. And even if it doesn't go to plan, at least at the end of the week, you can reflect back and understand why. And if it was out of your control, something's happened in life that we're not in control of. Some weeks shit is a fan. It just does. But at least you can look back and reflect and say, listen, that was just a bad week. Something's happened unexpectedly. I did what I could. I'm going to move on. But if you look back over your week and think, 1 minute, everything was in my control. I just didn't put the effort in it needed. I didn't put the time in it needed. I didn't action it. I actually went and did this instead of doing that. In that time of reflection, you've got to be a bit open and honest with yourself and say, am I really putting the right amount of time and effort into the priorities that are going to get me to my goal? If that kind of makes any sense. So that would be my answer more towards your goal question on priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for I think you're spot on there, basically. So if I summarize that, if tell me if I've got off the pace here, Ben, but a goal is that kind of wider target, that thing that, when somebody mentions that New Year's resolution or where ideally you want to get to, it's that thing that we've reached to, that place that we're aiming towards. but quite often that can get lost in the mix of everyday life, and before you know it, the next year's ticked over and it's the New Year's resolution time again. And we need to keep feeding the animals, we need to take dogs for a walk, we need to take care of our children, we need to go to work to pay the bills. Like that kind of mix of life does get in the way. So
just on that one, because you're right, and what again, we didn't want to go too deep into this. I'm going to drop you like a bit of a hidden gem into, if you are in the B1 group and you listen to the B1 mindset task around priorities, this is something we talk about. So I'm going to very, very briefly touch upon it. And that is, you kind of split it into your want and your must priorities. So what Liam listed there would probably be your musts. So you've got a kid, 100% that is going to be your priority, no matter what. Above any, for most people, I'd hope, above any goal, looking after your kid, making sure your kid was sorted out for the day would be a main priority. Again, animals, pets are a big priority, and obviously working career is a big priority, unless that's one of your goals. So that's the power of this tab on the app, which is, and Liam's going to bring mine up in a minute, but you start to list down your must priorities. And then on top of that, then you can put in the want ones. And what you start to realize is, right, okay, so I'm going to give 2 examples, because say you've got someone who works a 9 to 5. I get up, I get my kids to school, feed my dogs, have food myself, or feed my pets, whatever it may be. Then I get to work, whether I'm working from home or driving. I work till 5, finish work. My kid might be picked up. Then I might have a bit of free time. So I might go to the gym, or I might go to the pub, or I might do whatever it might be. Then I come home. Do I spend time with my kid? Do I not? Do I watch a film? Do I watch Netflix? So if you think around your must priorities, what is that time being spent on? And that, again, is the power of this task. So for most people, once they've written their must priorities down, then you say to them, okay, so after you take the musts out, so you write the must down and you take that time out, what time is left? Well, I've probably got about 6 hours left in my day. What are you doing with that time? Okay. What are you focusing on in that time? And especially if you've got a goal, that's the time you say, okay, so this is now what you want to spend your time on. So if you're going to the pub and sinking pints, but you're trying to achieve a goal in fitness, you're proving what you really want to prioritize on. Do you know what I mean? Or if you're coming home and just chilling and watching Netflix or TV, and you wanted to do advance on a course, or you wanted to learn something else, or wanted to learn a new hobby, or wanted to spend more time with your kids, whatever it may be, whatever you wanted as a goal or to prioritize, you've got to be honest with, outside of the musts, like what are you doing with your time? And again, that's the power of this. This is where we give you control to say, and again, we're not we're not giving them the answers. We're just saying, what do you prioritize in your life? And there's kind of 2 stages, which I'll touch on in a minute, but I think I just wanted to kind of drop in there because you mentioned kind of like the must priorities aspect of it, which is key. And for most people, 90% of people, mate, like you say, they're going to have potentially kids, potentially work, or most definitely work of some sort. And then again, potentially pets. And then it's just self-care. And outside of that, mate, it's just what you prepare to do with your time. Yeah. And I think I'm just going to use you as an example, Liam, on this one very quickly. I think I've done this before, but like Liam works till, and I know we've got a sleep coach in B1, so she'll probably be cursing us right now, but Liam works till 12:30, 1 p.m. in the morning sometimes on his projects that he's working on. He's ambitious, he's driven, he's doing multiple things with multiple people, and he's got a high-powered job as it is, and he's got a kid and a cat. Do you know what I mean? But my point there is, you're not shutting off after your day job and then going, right, I'm going to watch TV. I'm just going to chill out. Like, you are capitalizing on your time in the evening because you want to. That's ambition. And again, that can only come from one person.
I think, like, you know, for me, I've heard about priorities before, and I've heard about goal setting and focus and whatnot. But I think that's the difference with what I haven't heard before, and that you've brought to light, really, is that must and that want. And I think it is so important. And I think the musts, hopefully that makes sense to everybody. You know, what must you do? What's non-negotiable? What things have you got no saying? That they're automatically going down because you have to do them. And then it's that desire to do the wants. And I think that another thing that you touch on, and that we speak about at B1 is, you know, if you're getting to that moment where you've got that time where you can do something, but you lean towards doing something else. Is that really a priority for you? And I think that's the key. Like, are you wanting to do something, or are you letting yourself be distracted? And I think with the priorities tab in the app that we'll show you in a second, with this exercise of understanding where it is that you want to go and what it is that you want to be, it's understanding that you're not doing this because somebody's told you to do it. I think that's another value that we have here. We are not going to do the work for you. Like, we are not telling you what priority to set for yourself. We're not saying you need to be at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning because Ben goes to the gym at 5, or you don't need to be up till 1 o'clock or 12:30 like I am because I'm working on my project. It's got to be self-driven, and I think that's a really important thing to just briefly drop in there as well. And you know, I think that the other thing with setting your priorities and writing these down, and Ben has got a great task in the mindset courses that we offer, where it outlines, you know, writing down your musts and your wants and prioritizing and planning for your week and identifying those time periods where you can work on those wants. But I think that the powerful thing that the app enables people to do is to write those priorities down, to give yourself that clear direction, that kind of, well, I know this is what I'm focusing on, rather than just thinking, oh, I've got some free time, what should I do? And not really having that purpose. It also removes a bit of distraction, because if you're planning this properly, as you give people guidance on it, you know that, you know, when I get that free time later, I'm going to be working on this. So where sometimes we can get distracted and we can start scrolling and we can put Netflix on just to see what's on there, you know, you've got that thing that you should be doing, but you're pulled in by something else because it's distracting. So it can remove that temptation of distraction. It can prevent that scatterbrain, but also this can help you to become accountable. So you can flick this on and just go over it. Yes, that I almost forgot that this is exactly what it is that I want to do.
Your sound's just cut out, Liam. And if you can hear me, mate. Oh, you're back in the room. No. You literally just went out.
Okay. Good stuff.
Because that was powerful, mate. Other than that, actually, you was even I was in tune in what's the word, hypnotized into what you were saying. I was like, wow, this is powerful. I think me and you were kind of coming from two ways that really kind of propel it in the best light. Because even listening to you then, you were hitting some really powerful things, and everything you said, I was kind of nodding. I think that sometimes I come in so hard just because of how hard I've drilled my mindset now. So you people like you, David Goggins, like when they're on social media, like their mentality drives me, because that's where I am at in my mentality. So a lot of people get put off by that, or just don't really align with it or like it. That's what I need to hear, because he's like saying, what you do. But I just think that you're coming from a different perspective, and you're being very open and honest. And it's like there are distractions. And when you're not absolutely zoned 100% in, like, I'm gonna, no matter what I'm gonna do this, it's very easy to get swayed. Do you know what I mean? We're habitual creatures, and yeah, exactly that, mate. You're holding that up. Habitual creatures, and if we're trying to achieve something new, it means we haven't done it already. We haven't been working towards it. So we're more than likely going to be getting hell of a pull away from it. And it requires discipline, dedication, determination, consistency, all of these things that we do have but are hard to do. But I think what I loved about what you were saying then is that's what the app brings. That's what you did then. You really related very well, better than I could as well, how the app can benefit that. And as you were speaking, it reminded me, it fits into the stat you brought in at the start, because just the power of writing something down, or no, sorry if you were about to say this as well, because I might just ripped out your lips. I wasn't meaning to, guys. Me and Liam haven't scripted this, so the stats that he's brought up are new to me. But when he put that up at the start, and then as he was reading through what you do on the app, you're typing on the app, same as writing, you're getting it out of your head. It's just a form of kind of externalizing it. So by getting out of your head and putting it down, your priorities are more likely to be hit. So then when Liam talks about the accountability, it's kind of a form of accountability, but you're in control of it. It's a powerful tool. It's why, again, it's the first tab on the app, and why we're kind of so proud around it.
So it's the first tab we're going to discuss, but it's not necessarily the first tab on the app.
Oh, shit.
So
I mean, edit that out. It's live. Goddamn.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's just such a powerful tool, and when you mentioned about having that on there, I think that's really why we're excited about putting it on there, because of what we just said. That it is such a powerful thing just to have there, just to flick on. Our phones are about, they are, if you got those notifications on, it's everyone's trying to grab your attention to come and watch this, to come and listen to that, to just play 5 minutes on this game, and before you know it, that free time that you have gets sucked into something that's not your priority.
I think two things. Sorry to jump in, mate. Two things on that, though, quick. Cool. The first one, I might forget the other one because I'm going to go for your first one first, which is, like Liam said there, most things on your phone are something out of your control that's trying to pull you into them. What we've designed is something that gives you control, that's trying to pull you into your life. Does that make sense? Like, we've not created an app so we pull you into it. It's not a social media app. Like, we're not trying to share other people X, Y, Z. What we're trying to do with this app is something on your phone that you can open up and take control of your life. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's powerful. Like, digital age is here and it's not going away. So the power of using that phone, everyone, the amount of phones that are now being used isn't going to go down. It's only going to be going up. The advancements in the phones are only going to be going up. So we're not pushing away from it. What we're saying is utilize it to actually control your life rather than for it to control you. Which things. And the second one, I just need to touch on this, Liam. I know you might lean into it, but just in case we don't, I wanted to kind of hit it on the head now, just because. So again, some people might be listening and not be majorly goal focused right now. They might be feeling a little bit lost, just a little bit unstable in life, and just need some stability, some form of stability. And this exercise alone creates that. So this is a staple task to do, even if you don't have a goal yet. So if you've not got a goal in life, you're not trying to push towards anything, it doesn't matter. But what I would say is, like, are you content with your life? Are you happy with your life? Is your week to week going okay? And this priority task helps you understand that more. So it just creates an awareness. If you come into this kind of thinking, I don't really have any goals, like, it's more powerful in that sense, in a way, because it's just creating an absolute blueprint of what your life looks like at the minute. And if you start to be aware of that and actually think, I'm probably doing a lot of things here that I don't really want to be doing, or make me feel quite negative, or makes my body feel a bit sluggish and my mind a bit X, Y, Z. And yeah, I want to change it a bit. So the first thing you do is write everything down. Be honest with yourself in terms of what your current priorities are. You've got to be honest. Don't write what you want them to be to start with. Write them what they are, because then when you see what they are, you can start to make adjustments and think, right, I'm going to take this one out, but I do want to keep this one in. I want to put more time into this. And suddenly you start to free time up, create more time. And just like Liam said there, the attitude of using the app and taking control of your life creates motivation and drive. And as soon as you create a bit of motivation and drive, it sparks you to think, maybe I do want to go after something. What do we want to go after? And then again, we've got more things in B1 that can help you think about goals. But you might just start to spark off other things and think, right, I've always wanted to go into this area and push on and achieve. So how do we do that? Well, you've started the first step by understanding how to prioritize your life. So actually you're a step ahead. So now you bring your goal in and break that down into actions, put them in as priorities, and you're moving forward. And that is the power of the app completely.
Awesome. Okay. So for those people who are listening, you do go along to the YouTube channel, which we'll leave a show notes link for you if you're listening along on the podcast. But if you're watching on YouTube or you're here live, and thank you for those of you tuning in, we're gonna be showing you the B1 app. We'll try and describe it as best we can. Let me share the screen where you can actually see the B1 app, and this is. I'll just take the banner down so we can see it a bit better. So this is the B1 app, and as you can see, it's going to be something that's downloadable to your device. It is an app that is going to be personal to you. So like we said, it's about you taking control. It's about you understanding what it is that you want to achieve. And it's going to be something that is your eyes only. At the bottom, we've got our navigation. So we've got our welcome page, our emotions, and our priorities. And this is the area that we're going to focus on here. Now, when you get your app, instead of seeing what Ben's already filled in here, you'll just have priority 1, 2, 3, all the way down to priority 10. And you simply select a priority. So if this was priority 1, you would click onto the edit tab, which is the little pencil icon, and then you would just adjust that and change what it has written in there, clicking on save, and then that app would be there. But I think, like what you said, Ben, and like that statistic that we brought up a while ago, having something written down is really powerful, because if it is that you're in a moment where you've got that free 5 minutes and you're tempted with scrolling, you just notice that B1 app is there, clicking on there, perhaps filling up your log, perhaps looking at your priorities, and just reminding yourself, giving you that little memory jog of, oh yeah, that's that thing I wanted to do. But did you want to talk us through some of what you've put in here for yourself?
Yeah, so I'll kind of keep it as fairly brief as I can, guys. And you've got to remember, like, what you're looking at now is me, someone that's been using this task for a long time, even before we had the app. So how I explain it now might go a little bit more in depth than what you potentially could use it for. Again, for some people, what we advise is, can you just think of 3 things that you want to achieve this week? 3 things that you want to make sure you do this week. So although I've got 10 things implemented in there, and I'll talk in a minute how I dissect them, you could literally go in and just have 3 priorities. And if you achieve those 3 priorities in the week, you've achieved a good week. That's how simple you can make this. And one of them could be being more active, but then we would recommend how are you going to break that down? What does being more active mean? Do you know what I mean? So just for in some of mine, what you'll see is some of my must and some of my want. So obviously Jack's is my son, if anyone didn't know that. And what I've put in the notes is I've got him Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. So the other days is when my wife is working this week. And so I just know when I've got my son. My son's in nursery, but I've also got a diary. So in my diary, I've connected to what other stuff would be. So just in here, it gives me a jog. Jack's is a priority, and that's when I've got him. The second one, again, training. Now I've got a programmer for my own training. So I've set my time sessions in the week to my training diary. So I've got a separate training diary. So this is why I'm saying this is a little bit higher level in terms of everything, because I've taken another step to break it all down. My meditation and breath work. And then all of putting that one is to ensure to note on the overview. So we're not going to go into it tonight, but there's an overview tab, a log. So I can note down every time I do meditation and breath work. So every day I can click yes or no to whether I've done my meditation and breath work. And again, guys, this is so like Liam said before, Liam's priorities may not have anything that I've got written down because they're his. Again, I may have nothing that Liam's got. So what you're seeing now off mine, please don't be thinking, oh, so this has got to be part of it. No, it doesn't. You get a clean slate. None of those are on your app. You get to pick that app up and write down what priorities you want. This is just me and my life. Then obviously I've got my benchmark gym. So I'm coaching Tuesday and Friday. And then I went to a business event over the weekend. So one of my priorities for this week is to brainstorm over what I took away from the event, so we can start to apply some of those things to the gym itself. So I'm working with my business partner about what we want to apply from what we've been to. So that's a priority for me this week to go into. Then I've got touch base with the main man, Ollie D, from Going in Deep. Me and Ollie have been talking about kind of getting a podcast up and running again, and Liam's been on our backs to kind of get one moving. So again, that's something to be touching base with Ollie. And so again, these are just a couple of these are just reminders. Touching base with Ollie is just a reminder, but it's a priority because again, I need to make sure it's done this week. It slips a little bit. Oxygen Advantage, the course I've just done. I need to finish the case studies off and get that in. So if you can see, some of these are, if I get these done this week, I'm finishing the week having achieved an amazingly positive and focused week. And again, that is the power of having all that written down. Without all of that written down, where is it? It's in my head. Number 1, I could potentially get overwhelmed. Number 2, I could forget. And number 3, could just get distracted by, like Liam said, day-to-day stuff, old habit patterns, and before you know it, I've not done any of it. come Sunday, I'm not moving forward, bit negative, bit down. Life's not really kind of got any momentum whatsoever. As you can see from my priorities there, I'm going into the week knowing what priorities I need to hit. And as long as each week I'm ticking them off, my life is moving forward in the direction that I want it to. And this is me in control of my life, guys. This is the power of this app. Like what you are seeing there for me is if I'm doing all of those things, I'm in control of my mind and my body. I've got stuff in for my mind and my body. As you can see, sleep as well. I'm returning. I'm changing my sleep pattern. And guys, we've got, if you are in the B1 Focus group, Lee, I think Lee's going to announce it. Maybe not tonight, but we'll be coming out with social media. We are going to be doing something in there around kind of coming into the spring times, kind of like a changing time and some things that you can do. But something there that I'm doing is returning to getting to bed earlier and getting up earlier. So just something that I'm trying to capitalize on this week as well. So sleep's the main focus for me. Just about a 2-hour difference in what my pattern is currently. So again, I'm writing it down to remind me. So if it's getting to 11 p.m. and I'm not in bed, that's a fail on that for me. So I'll put a no on my overview. I didn't hit my sleep target, my priority for that. And I'll write down why. And it might be had a meeting with Liam and it ran over because me and Liam do late meetings. Or it might be I was just naffing about. And that's not an excuse, Ben. So sort it out. Talking to myself, obviously. That's a quick overview of mine, but I just wanted to kind of relay that. Again, if you're listening to this, I appreciate it's kind of hard to not see what's on the screen. But again, for a lot of my priorities, I have also got something that dissects them down. But this is how far my life's progressed with self-development and mindset. But again, this is how far I've come in feeling. And the last thing I'll note on this, Liam, which is I feel and think so much more positively about myself and my life right now in this day and age. But the reason is because I'm so much more in control of my life. So if you took me 15 years ago, I wouldn't have been prioritizing on the right things. And again, because of that, I felt out of control. Because of that, negative emotions were kind of running the show. So it's a big spiral negative effect. This has been transitional. And again, why Liam said at the beginning, this is why it's such a staple part of B1, because we know if you start to prioritize your life the way you want it, you can really make a positive shift in how you feel and think about your life. And that is, again, it's life-changing.
Absolutely. And just to reaffirm that you know, you can use this as complexly as Ben has here and have like everything listed down. You can see some of them here are literally just little memory jogs, like calling Ollie will be one activity during the week for you to remember. So you can amend these as and when you do them. You can have this as a daily checklist if you feel that is beneficial to you. We say, you know, do this as an activity once a week to help you set those priorities. But you can add your must, you can add just your wants. It's yours to tailor as you choose. And I think that the other thing to mention here is that, you know, somebody might come back to us and might say, well, I've got my notes app on my phone, why wouldn't I just use that? And that is a reasonable question to ask, I think. But if it's anything like my notes app, I'll make a note about something and then I'll make another note about something else because I must remember that. And then by the time you've made all those notes, it's a bit like post-it notes that I've got dotted around. You know, I'm not proud of it, but I've got about, like, if you've seen that clip from Bruce Almighty where he tries to turn all the emails into post-its and he's just covered in post-its notes, it can get a bit like that. So it can be a bit overwhelming trying to use some of these other platforms. So we'll just try to make it super straightforward for you, something that's hyper focused for you to use to get that clarity, to give you that distraction free place of where your priorities are. And go on, sorry.
No, I think that's just a really powerful point, mate. I think you're right. I think that, like, my notes are just chaotic because sometimes I'll write down something that might be for a post. Sometimes I'll be copying a link from the internet that I just want to save. Sometimes it could be card details or whatever you need to put in. You use it for whatever you want. But then you've got to remember your mind attaches what you're using it for. So suddenly your notes just becomes a space of, I'll just note it down. Like, the power of the app again, and just reaffirming what Liam said, but it was a great point. It's been nice to hear Liam speak so empowering about the app tonight, if I'm honest with you. But again, it comes down to that mindset. It's that mindset of, no, I've got an app here where I can really prioritize my life. I can really zone in and put down what I want to focus on. And you know it, click of a button, It's pulling those priorities up. And in order you can look at, and like Liam said, you can go in and edit it. So at the end of today, I could go back in and edit it. I could change it. I could say, actually, I've done this, and now I've done the Ollie one. Actually, now me and Ollie have set another meeting up for the end of the week. We're going to do a podcast this week. So that now needs to go in as that second priority. So I still keep the first one in, still keep in, I needed to contact Ollie, but underneath it, I'm putting right, ticked in, got a podcast booked in. Do you know what I'm saying? So like Liam says, this is your ability to change and adapt as you go. But it's showing you how in control of your life you are. So I just thought that was a really powerful point, Liam, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we've got Manny who's watching, and thank you for the feedback there. You know, makes absolute sense, and we can always be forgetful when we're prioritizing, and that they absolutely do pile up, and you know, that is kind of what this app is in mind there. In mind for. So
just if that's the Manny that I'm thinking, just want to give him a big shout out, man. He's a big supporter of everything that we do. So apologies if it isn't, because obviously there's a bit different in the name, but if it is Manny, man, you just support us, and your energy and your vibe and your positive, your mindset on life is something that inspires me massively. So just keep doing what you're doing, brother.
And a potential mindset tune-up guest for the future, maybe. But yeah. So I mean, just want to say thank you for tuning in. Unless like there's anything you want to explore further, Ben. If there's any other thoughts?
I think just guys, again, B1's making big steps at the minute, but for a powerful reason. And the powerful reason is this is helping you really take control of your life. Like that's our aim. Our aim is to help you take more control of your life. We're not trying to take control of it. We're trying to give you a power that can transform your life. And then you take that forward in any way you want. All we'd appreciate is every support. So guys, if you're not following us, if you can follow us on social, that'd be amazing. Anything that you find valuable that you've utilized or that you've heard, please reshare and give us a shout. And again, vice versa, if you're giving any mindset and self-development advice out there, because like I always say, mindset and self-development, everyone has got. Okay, everyone's got them a mind and everyone's got a self. So as long as you're working on that in a productive and positive way, you've got something you can share. And I think that's the beauty of this world. So again, anything we see that empowers us and inspires us and motivates us, B1 are going to be sharing that as well. It's about creating a community of people that just want to do good and see people succeed. And I think that's an amazing thing. So yeah, if you're not following us, please jump on, follow us on social. And if you've got any other questions, I think to either DM Liam on the B1 channel or you can drop us an email as well off the website.
So yeah, give us a shout on Instagram. Via the DMs, drop comments into YouTube, and we can always answer stuff on YouTube as well. We've got the podcast where we're going to be resharing, redistributing some of this content as well. So thank you for sharing it. And just to say, like, just to reaffirm what Ben said there, if you finding this valuable and you have a discussion with somebody and you think, oh, this could help somebody else out, please do share it in whatever way you can, because at the end of the day, if we can just give somebody that little insight to help them in whatever way, this what we're all about here at B1. So yeah,
thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. Good to see people tuning in, so many thanks.
Yep. And yeah, thanks so much, and we'll catch you on the next one.